for those before you, that you may gain piety. It's from the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 183. In an authentic tradition, the Prophet reported Allah as saying, "He suspends eating, drinking, and gratification of his sexual passion for my sake. Thus his reward is going to be according to God's great bounty." Fasting, then, awakens the conscience of the individual and gives it scope for exercise in a joint experience for all society at the same time, thus adding further strength to each individual. Moreover, fasting offers a compulsory rest to the overworked human machine for the duration of 1 full month. Similarly, fasting reminds an individual of those who are deprived of life necessities throughout the year or throughout life. It makes him realize the sufferings of others, the less fortunate brothers in Islam, and thus promotes in him a sense of sympathy and kindness towards them. Lastly, we come to Al-Hajj, the pilgrimage to the house of Allah in Mecca. It is very important. Lastly, we come to Al-Hajj, the pilgrimage to the house of God in Mecca. This very important pillar of Islam manifests the unique unity, dispelling all kinds of differences. Muslims from all corners of the world, wearing the same dress, respond to the call of Hajj in one voice and language. Labaik, Allahumma labaik. Here I am at your service, O Lord. In Hajj, there is an exercise of strict self-discipline and control, where not only sacred things are revered, but even the life of plants and birds is made inviolable, so that everything lives in safety. And he that venerates the sacred things of God, it shall be better for him with his Lord. This is from the Holy Quran, chapter 22, verse 30. And he that venerates the waymarks of God, it surely is from devotion of the heart. Again, from the Holy Quran, chapter 22, verse 32. The pilgrimage gives an opportunity to all Muslims from all groups, classes, organizations, and governments from all over the Muslim world to meet annually in a great congress. The time and venue of this congress has been set by their one God. Invitation to attend is open to every Muslim. No one has the power to bar anyone. Every Muslim who attends is guaranteed full safety and freedom as long as he himself does not violate its safety. Thus, worship in Islam, whether ritual or non-ritual, trains the individual in such a way that he loves his Creator most, and thereby gains an unyielding will and spirit to wipe out all evil and oppression from the human society and make the word of God dominant in the world. The concept of God in Islam. It is a known fact that every language has one or more terms that are used in reference to God and sometimes to lesser deities. This is not the case with Allah. Allah is the personal name of the one true God. Nothing else can be called Allah. The term has no plural or gender. This shows its uniqueness when compared with the word God, which can be made plural, gods, or feminine, goddess. It is interesting to notice that Allah is the personal name of God in Aramaic, the language of Jesus, and a sister language of Arabic. The one true God is a reflection of the unique concept that Islam associates with God. To a Muslim, Allah is the Almighty Creator and Sustainer of the universe, who is similar to nothing and nothing is comparable to him. The Prophet Muhammad was asked by his contemporaries about Allah. The answer came directly from God himself, in the form of a short chapter of the Quran, which is considered the essence of the unity or the motto of monotheism. This is chapter 112, which reads, "In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Say, O Muhammad, He is God, the one God, the everlasting refuge, who has not begotten, nor has been begotten, and equal to Him is not anyone." Some non-Muslims allege that God in Islam is a stern and cruel God who demands to be obeyed fully. He is not loving and kind. Nothing can be farther from the truth than this allegation. It is enough to know that, with the exception of one, each of the 114 chapters of the Quran begins with the verse, "In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate." In one of the sayings of Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, We are told that God is more loving and kinder than a mother to her dear children. But God is also just. Hence evildoers and sinners must have their share of punishment, and the virtuous his bounties and favours. Actually, God's attribute of mercy has full manifestation in his attribute of justice. People suffering throughout their life for his sake, and people oppressing and exploiting other people all their life, should not receive similar treatment from their Lord. Expecting similar treatment for them will amount to negating the very belief in the accountability of man in the hereafter, and thereby negating all the incentives for a moral and virtuous life in this world. The following Quranic verses are very clear and straightforward in this respect. Verily for the righteous are gardens of delight in the presence of their Lord. Shall we then treat the people of faith like the people of sin? What is the matter with you? How judge you? This is chapter 68, verses 34 to 36 of the Holy Quran. Islam rejects characterizing God in any human form or depicting him as favoring certain individuals or nations on the basis of wealth, power, or race. He created the human beings as equals. They may distinguish themselves and get his favor through virtue and piety only. The concept that God rested on the seventh day of creation, that God wrestled with one of his prophets, that God is an envious plotter against mankind, or that God is incarnate in any human being are considered blasphemy from the Islamic point of view. The unique usage of Allah as a personal name of God is a reflection of Islam's emphasis on the purity of the belief in God, which is the essence of the message of all God's messengers. Because of this, Islam considers associating any deity or personality with God as a deadly sin, which God will never forgive, despite the fact he may forgive all other sins. The Creator must be of a different nature from the things created, because if he is of the same nature as they are, he will be temporal and will therefore need a maker. It follows that nothing is like him. If the maker is not temporal, then he must be eternal. But if he is eternal, he cannot be caused. And if nothing caused him to come into existence, nothing outside him causes him to continue to exist, which means that he must be self-sufficient. And if he does not depend on anything for the continuance of his own existence, then this existence can have no end. The Creator is therefore eternal and everlasting. He is the first and the last. He is self-sufficient or self-subsistent, or, to use a Quranic term, al-Qayyum. The Creator does not create only in the sense of bringing things into being. He also preserves them and takes them out of existence and is the ultimate cause of whatever happens to them. God is the creator of everything. He is the guardian over everything. Unto him belong the keys of the heaven and the earth. No creature is their calling on the earth, but its provision rests on God. He knows its lodging place and its repository. Attributes of God. If the Creator is eternal and everlasting, then his attributes must also be eternal and everlasting. He should not lose any of his attributes, nor acquire new ones. If this is so, then his attributes are absolute. Can there be more than one Creator with such absolute attributes? Can there be, for example, two absolutely powerful creators? A moment's thought shows that this is not feasible. The Quran summarizes this argument in the following verses. God has not taken to himself any son, nor is there any God with him. For then each God would have taken off that which he created, and some of them would have risen up over others. And why? Were there gods in earth and heaven other than God? They, heaven and earth, would surely go to ruin. The oneness of God. The Quran reminds us of the falsity of all alleged gods. To the worshippers of man-made objects, it asks, do you worship what you have carved yourself, or have you taken unto you others besides